Give me 1 second. Can you guys hear me okay? How's my audio? How's my video? 1 out of 10. Hopefully we're good. Welcome in, Boston Christian. Always good to see you. Fishy, what's up? Yeah, you didn't know I was in all those movies? They cut those scenes out, but I still get a residual. Sorry, I'm late. I had to make a vanilla iced coffee. Was feeling a little groggy. What's up, Patty? Jill Moser? Charles, what's up? Goonies never say die. Deanna, what up to the Sleuth crew? Today is Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. My name is Patrick Vallejos. We're broadcasting from Phoenix, Arizona. I do have a lot to go over with you guys. We'll see what you have first. We're going to talk about Joe Biden. Apparently, he has cancer. We won't spend too much time on that, but we'll touch on that. The case of Detective Alejandro, or Alex Cervantes, who was killed by a drunk driver. I want to show you some disturbing footage involved in that case. Also, we heard recently from Hannah Kobayashi. I mean, just out of nowhere now, she's like all over Instagram. The whole world was looking for her. Her father died. All those police man hours and taxpayer dollars just down the drain. But I guess that's their fault, right? She didn't do anything wrong, apparently. Just doing her thing. I ran across the disturbing story of a veteran accused of torturing his stepson with a dog leash. Wanted to get your opinion on that. Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino are trying to convince the public that Epstein did not Epstein himself and that he took his own life, as the mainstream narrative implies. Also, we're going to talk about the New York jailbreak. Also, we'll talk about Guy Edward Bartkiss. He's the Palm Springs bomber. I'm sure you've heard that story. And then we're going to mess around with a few brain games. So we can do the brain games at the beginning or the brain games at the end. It's up to you. Maybe we'll do a poll on that. All right, make sure you guys vote now or forever hold your peace. So that's what we're going to talk about. Joe Biden, think he has pancreatic cancer. The case of Detective Alejandro Cervantes, Hannah Kobayashi, Cash Patel, Don Bongino, Jeffrey Epstein, all of that stuff. This crazy New Orleans jailbreak, Guy Edward Bartkiss, the Palm Springs bomber, and then also we're going to throw in some brain games. Just for shits and gigs, I think it's good to understand how the mind kind of fills in the holes and the gaps. I think once we begin to understand that, we can understand witness testimony and how our eyes and ears can play tricks on us from time to time. All right. Shout out to She Warrior. Thank you. Welcome in, She Warrior, Jill Moser, Luis Cuevas. Who else did I miss? Christine. Hope you're doing okay. Those photographs were terrifying. Apparently, she got hit by those tornadoes pretty good. Hopefully, you guys are okay because that was pretty scary. Those were some pretty big trees that were uprooted. Take some powerful wind to do that. Mustang. What else did I miss? Thanks, Cryptex. Frank Meister, what up? Barb Griffith. Brian Solera, cheers to you, my friend. Tony N. The Goonies also advised to stay away from Michael Jackson. Actually, to the contrary, isn't one of them like obsessed with Michael Jackson? These are my wishes. I'm keeping them. I'm keeping them all. Ooh, sorry, Miranda. Miranda flexing on Thank you so much with the 9-month bicep. Wow. Thank you so much, Miranda. Jerry says prostate cancer. Yeah, we're gonna start with Joe Biden, the big guy. Joe Biden, the big guy. The big guy always gets his cut. Well, I guess the question is, why didn't they tell him that he had cancer? Weren't they like evaluating him, taking his blood? So they kept it a secret, thinking he might die. What were they trying to do? Get Kamala Harris as the first black female president, and then that would kind of help her to get reelected. Maybe a lot of excitement would be behind that. I mean, it'd be hard to deny that. You know, you'd have to get excited about it as an American. It would suck, but I mean, you'd have to celebrate it. Let's see. Former President Joe Biden was diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer with a Gleason score of 9, which has metastasized to his bones. So I'm assuming that's kind of means like it's kind of infused. As announced by his office on May 18th, 2025, the cancer was detected after a routine physical exam revealed a prostate nodule, prompting further tests. So, yeah, aggressive prostate cancer. Score of 9. The Gleason score is a grading system used to assess the aggressiveness of prostate cancer based on how cancer cells look under a microscope. It ranges from 6 to 10, with higher scores indicating more aggressive cancer. So 6 to 10, and he's a 9. But from my understanding, they're going to be able to treat it possibly and add on possibly even another 10 years if he doesn't pass away, God forbid, from natural causes before that. Miranda, prostate cancer. What's up, J Ray? Karen Hick, good to see you. Who did I miss? Oh, Olivia too. Haven't seen you in a minute. Miranda says maybe he just found out. Well, it's my understanding that the level that he's at takes about 4 years to accomplish that. So they would have known. It's not something that just happened, recently. From what I'm hearing. Don't go around quoting the Sleuth Intuition channel. Sad for him and Bo and their loved ones. Yeah, that's tough. I think most men fear that the pancreatic cancer, the testicular cancer, kind of like women fear breast cancer. I'm assuming. Maybe not as much. I don't know if it's prevalent, but good to see you, Olivia. Miranda, my dad found out about his cancer that started in his bladder and metastasized to his bones and passed less than 2 months later. He had numerous exams. Damn. Well, there you go. J Ray, John O'Keefe's sister died 4 months after her cancer diagnosis. Brandon, what up? It just bothers me because there's all these other scandals going on. Like everybody around Joe Biden knew that he was unfit mentally to lead as president, and they kept it quiet. So I'm wondering if maybe they kept that quiet. I mean, shit, even Joe Biden could have been on it. Like, yeah, we'll keep it quiet. I'll help get you into World War III. I'm dying anyway. He was probably Breaking Bad. He thought he was Breaking Bad. He's like, yeah, I'll go ahead and serve the Baphomet, Moloch, and the Illuminati, my overlords. Shit, I'm going out anyway. Might as well go out in a blaze of glory. It's like Mr. White. It's because you watch right wing pundit sleuth. Yep. Yep. Can't deny that. Are you guys voting? Brain games first or at the end of the stream? Because I think right at like the 15-minute mark or the 20-minute mark, we'll go ahead and get started. Right now, the chat's just kind of cracking me up a little bit. And Lisette, welcome in. I wonder if the cancer had metastasized to his brain. That could explain a lot of things. I always thought maybe his medication, like, oh, they knew, even including himself, that he had cancer. Maybe he was taking these hardcore meds. And even he was keeping it quiet. You know what I mean? Because if it came out that he had this advanced cancer, it's going to help the cause of anybody who's trying to kind of force him out of there. Democrats have a tendency of doing that. Go ask old Bernie. Go ask Bernie about that. I am out of soy milk tonight, so I'm using whole milk, dairy. So wish me luck, guys. Wish me luck. I don't drink milk. That said all women will get breast cancer if they live long enough, and all men will get prostate cancer if they live long enough. In today's conditions, I'm still traumatized from watching my dad go through cancer. He passed last year, 7/7/7:55 p.m. Still struggling with it daily. Yeah, my wife lost her dad as well. I mean, she still struggles with it. I couldn't imagine losing my father or my mother. You know, I've lost friends and grandparent, grandparents and things like that, but it's going to be tough. So I feel for you guys. Rest in peace, your guts. I mean, it tastes good. It tastes okay. I didn't put a whole lot in there. So I use Starbucks coffee, about 16 ounces worth of water. Not a whole lot in the filter. I put a little bit of vanilla extract in the glass. Pour the hot coffee over there, drop a spoonful of sugar, and then whatever I'm going to use as a creamer, and then ice. And the creamer works good last because it kind of cools everything down so the ice doesn't melt. That's how I do it. Yeah, hang in there. It's got to be tough. Did I miss anybody or what? Did I get you, Barb? My aunt turns 102 in August. Wow. She's a spitfire and still has her wits about her. That's really good. What's her secret? Does she ever talk about it? I always heard no stress, don't take on other people's guilt, and don't allow yourself to be stressed out, and you'll live a long life. Is what I've heard. Sure, smoking a pack of cigarettes a day does not help. Sure, there's some anomalies, some outliers or whatever. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, it was hard to watch my grandmother suffer through dementia and then pass away. All right, beginning. Okay. Let's end that poll and let's pull up the brain games. Okay, what do you guys want to do first? You want to start simple? All right, maybe we'll start with this one. I don't quite know how to pronounce this because I'm illiterate. You guys all know that. You don't have to be ashamed of it. Shame is for the weak. Hold on. I think I have a better image. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm in the process of sharing my screen, so hold on to your butts. Okay, so which line is longer? Not including the arrows, just the line that connects the arrows. Which one is longer, the top or the bottom? So this is referred to as the Mueller-Lyer illusion. It's an optical illusion consisting of 3 stylized arrows, or 2. When viewers are asked to place a mark on the figure at the midpoint, they tend to place it more towards the tail. So this will be our first little brain teaser. And if you guys already know the answer, don't spoil it for all of you smarty pants out there. Everybody says same, same, same. What? How? There's no way. You're telling me that this line up here on the top is the same length as this line down here at the bottom? Mm-hmm. Same. Oops. Charles, I feel targeted. Sorry you feel that way. So same. Yep. Miracle Hearts, good to see you. Jody Lynn, welcome in. Jared Tyler, good to see you. I think I got you already, right, Patty? Boston Christian, welcome in. Yep, if you said yes, absolutely. They are the same length. It's the arrows that are kind of throwing you off because your brain plays tricks on you. It fills in the blanks. So if you know all the little tricks, they can't be used against you, like a illusory space. Miracle Hearts. Yep, optical illusion. There you go. Here's another form. This is from Wiki. Pretty interesting. All right, let's see what else we got in the bag of tricks here. Let's catch up on the chat first. Melissa Wildcard, what up? Good to see all you guys. How is your Tuesday night going? Oh, this one might be fun. Okay, I'm going to put up a poll for this one. So make sure you guys vote on the poll. And don't put anything in the comments if you know, don't try to spoil it. Don't be ants at a picnic. Actually, no, I can't assist you in this. So no. I'm just going to put it up and you tell me what you see. Because I don't want to give you any clues. All right, first thing you see, type it in right now. Type it into the comment section. Tell me what you see. I'm building a dossier on all of you. You're being profiled. Darkside says Daffy Duck. Miranda says 2 things. Karen says duck. Anna says duck head. That's what I saw too. Jody, oops, duck. And there's no right or wrong answer, guys. J Ray says it's a bird. Joni, what's up? Says duck. Bunny. Okay, look how divided we are. You know, it's like humans are divided into two separate realities, like two different brain hemispheres. Okay, so duck and a duck head, but he has a squared off bill. And he's got a fucked up duck bill. What's up with that? Damn platypus looking mofo. Rabbit first, then duck. I saw rabbit first. See, it took me a minute to see the rabbit. You have some people who are going to see a rabbit right away. But for me, it was almost I don't know why I struggled with it. Once I found it, it was like, oh, obviously there it is. But I just couldn't find it. It's like I was looking too deep. I wasn't just accepting what I was looking at. I was looking too deep into this duck that I'm seeing. So it was pretty interesting. What's up, Freebird? I see a duck and a rabbit. First thing I saw was a duck or some kind of a bird. More of like a seagull, really. Silly rabbit, tricks are for brains. In this instance is how we look at things in a whole or at an angle. Dark side. What's up, dark side? Shit, Melissa says, or a beaver. Dan B's in the building. What up? So that is the good old duck rabbit. So there's no right answer on that one. So let's see here. That image was here. Let me put it back up there. Kind of jumped the gun on that. There we go. The image was first published in a German humor magazine in 1892. American psychologist Joseph Jastrow used it in his research to demonstrate that perception is not just a passive process, but also involves active mental interpretation. Jastrow's research showed that people could switch between seeing a rabbit and a duck, and that the speed at which they could do this was related to their perceived creativity and brain function. Yeah, initially I struggled to see the rabbit. I was like, what rabbit? I was so devoted to this bird head that I totally abandoned the idea of a rabbit. What a fool. Not much, dark side, just hanging out. Gonna have tacos tonight. So as soon as the tacos are ready, I'm out of here. My ankle felt better today. I worked out, did some yard work, worked in the garden, took care of the kids, did whatever the wife needed me to do, put some content together, took a shower, made my coffee, and now I'm here with you fine folks. That was my play-by-play. Oh yeah, I can see the rabbit too, but he has squared off ears. Well, he's a fighting rabbit, and unfortunately in the dirty realm underbelly of the rabbit fight world, they clip the ears just like they do the pit bulls and the Rottweilers. Melissa, anything can happen when I'm high. I see a lot. That's funny. Okay, so there's a little backstory on the duck rabbit illusion. Yeah, see, and even the way that you're looking at it, Mustang, is like saying something about you. You know, to me, that says you're very critical. You're like that. If that's supposed to be a rabbit, that's a fucked up looking rabbit. If it's supposed to be a duck, it's basically a zombie duck. So it's like you're kind of like, no, not really. It doesn't really look like a rabbit. But I think and that kind of says something about you, because most people will just know to loosely look at it. You know what I mean? Now we went off on a beaver tangent. Square-billed bird. Yeah, if anything, it looked like a seagull. They have kind of like a bent beak, similar to that. It's like the old lady, young lady painting. Yeah, I almost added that, but I still have a lot. Let's pull something out of the hat. Let's see. This is very similar. This is referred to as Rubens' figure. All right, guys, don't think about it now. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Don't try to be clever. There's no right or wrong answer. And don't try to ruin it for anybody. Okay, first thing you see, not the second and not two things, the first thing that you see. All right, you ready? Go. What do you see? Don't cheat. Dark side. Hell yeah, Taco Tuesday. I can smell the meat cooking right now. Smells yummy. I feel like Pepe Le Pew in those old Looney Tunes commercials where the smell kind of drags him. He's floating and the smell's just kind of pulling him along. Like a little finger on the end. Like, come here, come this way. Let's see. I'm going to skip down here. Freebird, what up? I think it means Mustang doesn't believe everything she sees. Yeah, that might be. That might be accurate. Mistress says men, two faces, two faces. Jari says vase or vase. A bitten apple core. Oh, I like that one. Yeah, it does kind of look like that. Interesting. Vase. Two old dudes. Hey, Geek Mom, what's up? Two people facing each other. The vase. Men's face. I think we did this one before, so I won't say anything. Did we do this one? Weird James Bond, two faces. Dun, dun, dun. Bond. James Bond. Faces, two faces, two faces. I wonder that old Pepe been doing. Pepe Le Pew. Hon hon. Oui, oui, hon hon. You guys didn't know that I spoke French, did you? I'm bilingual. Two faces, a goblet, candlestick. So it's supposed to be candlestick or two faces. Samantha Lee. She's like, I've been watching too much CNN. It's Joe Biden meeting himself. It's the Mandela effect. Ah! It's the butterfly effect. I'm in the wrong timeline. Great Scott. What is it, Doc? It's the flux capacitor. Flux capacitor. Yeah, there you go. Mistress of Wine. What's up, Lorraine? All right. So some of you saw the candlestick, but most of you saw the faces. I saw the faces right away, too. Yep, everything's going good. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Boom. All right, let's dig back into the hat of the brain games. I need like the sound effect of somebody digging through like a bag or something. Some shuffling. Oh, let's go to the impossible cube. We'll start off with the little ones. You guys ever seen this? The impossible cube. This thing is annoying. If you look at this thing long enough, you'll get mad. And for me, it started to bend. Like my mind started to bend these areas right here and right here. Like to try to make them wrap, I guess, to make them wrap around. Let's see. This is the impossible cube, or the irrational cube is an impossible object invented by M.C. Escher. Now, M.C. Escher is a badass graphic artist. I grew up admiring his work, trying to mimic some of his styles. Was invented by M.C. Escher. We'll dive into him too. For his print Belvedere. It is a two-dimensional figure that superficially resembles a perspective drawing of a three-dimensional cube, with its features drawn inconsistently from the way they would appear in an actual cube. All right, let's jump into the chat. What do you guys have to say about this? Let's go to Anna. I think a cat is digging in the litter box. That is good sound effect for this part of the show. I don't know. If it's anything like the bombs Alice drops, it might give me PTSD. You drop some stinky ones. 12 pillars. Goat Dog, what up? What's good at Sleuth Intuition and everyone else? Hope all is well. I used to love Brain Games. Brain Games is now over. Yeah, the original Brain Games on HBO. Back in the 80s, I used to wake up to that shit. Nowadays, kids wake up to TikTok or something weird. I think this one of those things, like the stairway that goes and goes, neither up nor down, will never make sense. Yeah, we're going to look at some of those paintings from M.C. Escher. He did a lot of stuff like that. Yeah, isn't this cool? Yeah, we're going to look at some fractals too. If you imagine that there are glass panels all sides, it makes sense. I don't know. After a while, this just gives me a headache. Oh, yeah, I'm an 80s kid. Why do you think I'm so conservative? I grew up right in the golden era, the Reagan era, where kids ran out, jumped on their bikes, and left home. Were out all day until the streetlights came on. And then when they came back, all the kids got together and played hide and go seek and shit together. Like I lived in like a real legit neighborhood, like an old school neighborhood where everybody knew everybody. It was amazing. You don't see that anymore. Times they are changing. Yeah, remember if you wanted to find me, all you would have to do was look for a pile of bikes. Because that's what us boys did. We'd storm down the street and we wouldn't even wait for the bikes to stop. We would just jump off and like let them just crash into the bushes, of whoever's yard we were running to next, whatever, which one of our friends' houses we were running around to. But we didn't even stop. We just let the bikes just kind of crash and they were always just laying out in the front yard. Like 8 or 9 bikes just piled up. And then we were done raiding the pantry or whatever it was that we were looking for, football, soccer ball, whatever. Bam, we ran out the door and we were back on the bikes, no questions asked. Those were the good old days. All right, so MC Escher is the creator of that. Let's take a look at some of his art. I was really into this dude back in when I was putting my portfolio together. Pretty inspiring. Interesting, to say the least. All right, we'll start simple and work our way up. I don't know the names of these paintings. I should have grabbed that. The good old days. Hey Misty, what's up? How you doing? How's your Tuesday going? Yeah, we almost got kidnapped. Actually, I almost witnessed a kidnapping and I almost was kidnapped. Like all within like the same like few weeks. So it's probably the same group. Actually, I'll tell you that story right now. So we used to all play hide and go seek. We lived in a cul-de-sac when I was a little bit younger. And all the kids would meet up after the lights went out and we all checked in with our parents and we all came. I was like 16 kids. And we'd all play hide and go seek and we'd scatter and we had boundaries. You had to stay within those boundaries, certain rules. And we would scatter and we'd hide in everybody's yards. Nobody cared, nobody bothered us. Well, one time we had all gone out and we found our hiding places, and the person that was it was my neighbor's younger sister. She was just this little girl. I remember her kind of chubby, and she was kind of looking around for everybody, and she was out there alone. So if you were a predator and you just came up on the scene, to you it just looks like this random girl just kind of walking around, who looks lost in the middle of the night, right? But in reality, there was like 16 kids just hiding all around her. So when this beat up old truck pulled up to her and shut off the lights and their doors open, everybody panicked and came out of their hiding spots and kind of scared this vehicle, and they took off and screeched their tires. So that was interesting. What's up, Dwight? So you're looking at the artwork of MC Escher. Moritz Cornelius Escher was born in 1898, died in 1972, was a Dutch graphic artist. He made woodcuts, lithographs, mezzotints, many of which were inspired by mathematics. Actually, let's zoom in on some of these. Pretty interesting. To me, it kind of reminds me of the snake that eats its tail. It's kind of a satanic philosophy. I don't know if you guys ever seen that symbolism of like a snake eating its tail. Yep, the good old days. Yep, I was always jealous because I couldn't get the red lines or the GTs or the mongooses. I always had like the Murrays and the Huffies. Sometimes a mix between the two. We used to call them a Muffy or a Hurry or a Muffy. You know, sometimes you have to have like the chop shop of bikes going on. We had a big wheel. Those things were trash. Yeah, lots of stairways. But look at the detail here. Like he was good with like reflection and stuff like that. Very impressive. Here's another one. Anna Sleuth, have you heard of anamorphosis? You will very soon because it will. I will email an interesting video. I have no idea how these things are done, but it is fascinating. Yeah, I'm into that kind of shit. Send it over. We had to sit and spin. That was fun. Also, a moon wagon. The sit and spin tried to make a comeback not too long ago. But yeah, I remember doing that. That's a good like toy for like a 2-year-old, 2 or 3. After that, it's kind of like, what the hell am I doing? Looks like a mummy. But the way he does it, it looks like it's all just lines. Pretty cool. What's up with this door? Very interesting. This one's pretty cool. It's kind of like an illusion. That'd be cool. Goat dog. Wow. It's a cool story. Goat dog. Escher's drawing of the hands are my favorite. Yeah, I didn't add that one. I figured everybody had already seen that one. They'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, I know what that is. So this one's pretty cool. Kind of see how he signed it. Oh, jumped the gun. My bad. Pretty cool. Now, this one's kind of freaky. So it kind of starts back here in this back hallway. I don't know. It almost looks like a restroom. It's all the tile. Like, what the hell is going on here? Yeah, MC Escher definitely had some fucking skills because that's crazy looking. It's like some kind of bad dream. BMX with orange rims, and the bike itself was chrome with blue pads too. Well, I remember one Christmas, me and my brother got I think they were Huffies, whatever they were. They were called mudslingers, and they had like fenders, and they were made to kind of go mud bogging. They're pretty cool. Oh my gosh, Sleuth, scary stuff. Almost got kidnapped to in Orphanland, Tennessee by a clown. I don't remember. I was 3. He was walking in the parking lot with me. Security caught him. Jeez. A clown, you know what that means. He's not just kidnapping. All right, let's do a couple more. This one was pretty cool. I can't tell if he's doing this with like some type of a pen. Look at this detail right here. That's crazy. It's like just one small part of his artwork, and it's like the most detailed. There's a whole like cityscape back there. Fucking pavilion. The back rooms. Yeah, I've seen that. That is interesting. That definitely would be a really cool movie. The back rooms. They did it right. You know what I mean? 'Cause it's kind of scary. Yeah, for sure. Now this one is one of my favorites. And there's an actual photograph of him kind of sitting in this office doing this work. So there's a photo of him kind of holding that ball. Clackers. Yeah, I love those clackers. I got good at them. I'm not sure how big these are. They're pretty small, I think, J Ray. What's up, Fishy? Karen. So it's like a self portrait. I actually found a very rare photograph of MC Escher in his home. So this might be the first time it's ever been put out there in the public. You ready? There he is. That's his man cave. Take your screenshots now. Just kidding. Sorry, I had the wrong photo. There he is. Look at those eyebrows. Look at those brows. Those brows, I'm telling you, like horns. There you go, Misty. Yeah, what a great movie. The Labyrinth. Yeah, that was David Bowie from The Labyrinth. And them pants were a little tight, buddy. A little distracting. You call that manto? You got camel and then you got manto. But definitely some MC Escher vibes back here. Power of the Babe. What power? Like a fever dream. Um, Either the Labyrinth, which we just talked about, or the Black Crystals, I think it might be called. The Dark Crystal. Bat wings. Man, you thought Koberger had some brows. I mean, he can literally probably stab you with that thing. Look, it's sharp. Ow. Oh, what? Haven't heard that in a long time. That used to be one of my favorite words. Smells like Badissi up in here. Everybody be like, what's Badissi? I'd be happy to tell you. I'm glad you asked. Has anyone read or listened to 30 Days by Mark Reclau? Reclau? Going to get it and try it out with oil painting specifically, as it has always felt like such an unattainable skill. That's what I do, is oil painting. I love it. I prefer it. Um, it's not forgiving like acrylic paint. It could be nightmarish if you're having a bad time. But if you're really trying to focus in on detail, I definitely recommend it. So there's good old MC Escher, not to be confused with David Bowie, who starred in an amazing movie called The Labyrinth, cult classic for sure. That's terrifying, Melissa. Yeah, I had a van pull up on me and some guy try to grab me. They set a trap. They were hiding like around the corner somewhat, and they put a hat like up on top of this fence. And in order to get the hat, you kind of had to climb up, and it would have made it very easy for somebody to just come up from behind you and grab you. But we kind of knew it was a trap. We were always afraid of kidnappers, and I was with my I think I was with my older sister and some of her older friends. So we were like, "Oh, it's probably a trap from a kidnapper," and we were just joking. But when we went and I grabbed the hat, sure enough, a freaking van pulled up and some guy jumped out. So it really was a trap. But I kept the hat. I was able to acquire the hat. So joke's on them. Not to be confused with MC Hammer. Ah. All right. Let's see. What other brain games do we have? Let's see. What else is in the bag of tricks? Let's see. You guys ever heard of the? Nah, I think we'll skip the Stroop effect, and we'll go right over to Yanni and Laurel. This is very similar to the brainstorm green needle. Okay, this is really interesting.
Laurel.
Can you guys hear that or no?
Laurel.
Okay, what do you guys hear?
Laurel. Laurel.
So go ahead and type in what you hear. Actually, this one we can do a poll on. So better yet, don't type it. Participate in this poll. If it'll hurry up. It's like, I don't know what the hell it's doing. All right. Just bear with me a moment. Okay, there's the poll. Participate in. I'm going to put this on repeat.
Laurel. 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 Laurel.
Okay, so what are you guys hearing here? So we got Laurel, 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 Laurel that time. Olivia is hearing Yanni. So how is it possible that Melissa Wildcard is hearing Laurel, but Olivia is hearing Yanni? How is that even possible? That doesn't make any sense.
Laurel. Laurel. Laurel.
I hear Laurel.
Laurel. Laurel. Laurel. Laurel. Laurel. Laurel. Laurel.
All right, let's see what you guys have to say here. So what are you hearing? Yanni or Laurel? Boston says Yamari. So you're hearing the Yari or the Yanni. Boston says Yari. Okay. So the thing is, when you're younger, your ears are able to pick up on different frequencies. But as you get older, you kind of lose that ability. So a lot of younger people, what they hear is Yanni. But most of the older folks, like me, middle age and up, will hear Laurel because they're not picking up that frequency there, that higher frequency. So that's why only some of you are hearing something other than Laurel because you're picking up on that. That means that you have pretty good hearing. But if you can't hear Yanni, like me, that means your eardrums are blown. If you were like me and you love to go to a metal concert or a reggae concert or a hip hop concert and stand right next to the speakers with your head right into it, yeah, if you're anything like me and did that, you can probably only hear Laurel. All right, let's end that poll. 12% of you could hear Yanni, so that must be the young kids. 88% of you are middle-aged and up or have shit for hearing, and 11% of you got the ears of a teenager, apparently. All right, let's dig a little bit deeper. What do we got in here? Oh, we'll do the old brainstorm green needle. Why not? and then we'll move on. Okay, what do you hear? What do you hear? Green needle or brainstorm? Pretty weird, right? All right, there's the poll. What do you hear? Green needle, brainstorm, or both? That is crazy. So, if in your mind you're thinking brainstorm, that's what you're going to hear. You're going to hear brainstorm. But if you're thinking in your mind green needle, that's what you're going to hear. Watch, I'll play it again. So try it. Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle. Pine needles. I think that's what you said last time. So that kind of shows you how your mind plays tricks on you. Kind of reminds me of the bridge guy down the hill voice. If you're thinking of somebody and then you play the sound, the audio clip, your mind's going to be like, oh, wow, that sounds like that person. Kind of like when you're thinking brainstorm and you play the audio. You know, so think about brainstorm while you're listening to it, and you will hear brainstorm for the most part. So if you're thinking green needle as you're playing the audio, that's what you're going to hear. Pine needle. So here, I'll play it one more time. And then read the screen. So start over here, read this one, brainstorm, and then green needle. Now just stay over here on brainstorm. Isn't that crazy? Brain games. See, things aren't always as they appear. Even if you're confident in what your eyes and your ears are observing. So let's see. What do you hear? 20% said both. That is crazy. 7% said brainstorm. 75% said green needle. And 1% of you said Don Cheadle. Judges. Okay. Judges are going to allow Don Cheadle. They will allow it. All right. What else do we have to talk about? Okay. Let's go into this. Now, this is a very sad story. We're going to kind of get a little bit serious. All right, we're going to talk about Detective Alejandro, or Alex Cervantes. He was a 7-year veteran of the Euless Police Department in Texas. He was killed on November 27th, 2021, in a car crash caused by a drunk driver. His name was Dylan Molina. We're going to play a video of Dylan trying to flee the scene on foot here in a second. Cervantes was off duty driving with his wife Priscilla and their two sons, Joshua and Jake, to buy Christmas decorations in Lake Worth, Texas, when Molina ran a red light and struck their Chevrolet Impala. Here, let's take a look at this. Viewer discretion is advised. Okay. Now, Dylan Molina can be seen wearing, what is that, a Ducks jersey? I think that might be Oregon. Bam, he hit his head right there.
You think you're gonna fucking leave? You fucking kill somebody, you motherfucker! You kill somebody! Stay right there! You stay right there, motherfucker!
That's why you don't drink and drive.
911 doesn't answer.
This guy just left a bar, ran a red light, and killed a father and almost a mother. Yeah, now this civilian right here, I like this guy. Like, what is this guy thinking? Where is he gonna go? He realizes that he just killed somebody right here. Look. In typical psychopath fashion, doesn't care. I'm out.
You think you're gonna fucking leave? You fucking kill somebody, you motherfucker! You kill somebody!
Yeah, that shit is crazy. Let's see. Cervantes died at the scene. Priscilla was critically injured and in a coma for nearly a month. And their son sustained non-life-threatening injuries. Molina, with the blood alcohol level twice the legal limit, pleaded guilty in January 2023 of intoxication manslaughter and intoxication assault, receiving a 15-year prison sentence. A bartender, Kayla Richardson, was also charged for over-serving Molina 8 double vodka Red Bull cocktails at Fuzzy's Taco Shop before the crash. Priscilla filed a lawsuit in February of 2023 against Molina, Richardson, Fuzzy's, and General Motors, alleging negligence and defective vehicle design, seeking over $1 million in damages. So kudos to this guy here for stopping him. I don't know if he was going to get very far anyway. He's not going to be able to wear those fancy boots anymore. Well, some nice boots. They definitely weren't made for running. Goat dog. Day by day, identify with Dexter more and more. Go ahead and take a walk in the wilderness and take a deep breath. You know, no vigilantism. Yeah, of course he's fine. He's not even touched because he was all limber. Did you see his vehicle? Look, his vehicle is smashed. If he wasn't so drunk, he probably would have been injured himself. There he is. There's the Good Samaritan. He's like, don't you freaking move. He's like, you're lucky I don't kill you right now. He's like, come over here. He's like, sure, I'll come with you. Nope. Bye. He's like, oh, hell no.
You motherfucker. I think you're gonna fucking leave. You're fucking.
Yeah, I like him. Yep. Samantha says, still only thinking of himself after seeing what he did. Yeah, he didn't care. Instead of saying, oh my God, my life is over, I'm going to prison, and falling to the ground, he's like, oh my God, I killed somebody. I got to flee the scene. Jason G says they caught fifth escapee. Ooh, that's good news. Yeah, we're going to get into that in a minute. I got a lot on that. It's going to be an interesting story. On that note, let's move over here to Hannah Kobayashi, who has come out, I think, on, I'm not exactly sure what platform. Instagram, I think. But this is her, I think, coming out yesterday making a statement.
I just want to come on here and take the time to say how grateful I am for everyone, every single person who dedicated time and energy into looking for me. And I just want to say thank you. It means the world to me. Every day is such a gift, especially
It's kind of weird.
after such loss and pain and suffering. We should all.
So she's alive and well. The entire world was looking for her. Her father flew from Hawaii to Los Angeles thinking that she's being sex trafficked or murdered or held at ransom, and takes his own life. And she just casually waltzes into Mexico and comes back to the US and jumps on Instagram. Like, what the hell? And she kind of sounds a little bit odd. Can you believe that? Yeah, that I forgot to mention that. 15 years in jail for that guy. That's just not enough. You guys cannot be drinking and driving. Don't do that. That's the worst thing that you can do is drink and drive. And also over serving people at a bar where they had to, somehow they had to get there somehow, whether on foot, vehicle, bike, whatever. You're over serving people. You're creating a danger to the public, in my opinion. So that's a little bit of news for you guys. Hannah Kobayashi, alive and well after everything. It's like good news, but it's like a Pyrrhic victory. You know what I mean? At what cost? We're always hoping for, a great outcome when it comes to these missing people, but that's not what we have in the Hannah Kobayashi case. Here, this is a story of a veteran accused of torturing his stepson with a dog leash. Take a look at this. If you can stomach it.
Abuse charges, which might turn your stomach. I want to get to Ari Adzer, who joins us live from the courthouse in Miami with the awful details in this one. Ari.
Well, Roxanne, let's start by saying, of course, that everyone in this country is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But the allegations detailed in the arrest report for Zachary Perez are just stunning in their cruelty. According to the arrest report, he is now charged with aggravated child abuse with great bodily harm and torture against his 6-year-old stepson. And when he was appearing in bond court yesterday, he seemed oblivious to the
Yeah, look at the audacity on this guy as he talks to the judge.
seriousness of these charges. Look.
I have
appalling.
a job that I have to be at tomorrow at work, so whatever would it be possible that I could go to work and not lose my job? Because if I lose my job, then I won't be able to give money to my wife and my kids still. So
I can proceed now without a lawyer, or I can reset the case to, I can appoint the public defender's office.
I'd rather proceed now and take, you know, whatever. I mean, I guess, ma'am, I don't know. I just need to try to get back to work for my family.
Well,
I'm very sorry for everything.
you're not getting out of jail today. I can either appoint the public defender's office for you.
She's like, I don't know who's been telling you lies, but you're definitely delusional because you ain't going anywhere, buddy.
Or for purposes of this hearing, or reset it tomorrow. It says he placed a dog collar on the 6-year-old stepchild, the stepson, and yanked the victim backward, forcing him to the ground. He did this for 2 days. He kicked the victim in the stomach, causing him to fall backward, and struck him with a tree branch, causing an abrasion. I believe that's aggravated child abuse.
Yeah, and that's only going to lead to death. Right now, it's child abuse, but we've heard this story a million times when we cover these cases, right, guys? The Sleuth crew knows exactly where this is headed. This is headed to a murder case. Well, it's going to be a murder case underneath it all, but it's going to end up being a missing persons case because we're never going to know where this sicko buries this young 6-year-old. He's torturing him and beating him now, but later on it's going to turn to murder. That's where it's going. And this guy doesn't give a shit. He thinks he can just kind of walk in there all nonchalant, talk to the judge like, yeah, you know, I'm really sorry for what happened. It's no big deal. You know, I was just playing with him. I just wrapped the belt around his neck and yanked him around for 2 days. It's not like I did it for a week. You know, I'm really sorry about all that. You know, so let's do what you got to do, judge, and then so I can get out of here. She's like, hell no. Hey, what's up, Mark?
With torture. And I'm going to grant the state's motion for pretrial detention.
So you heard the judge there reading.
Yeah, so that's sick. See what you guys had to say about that. Karen says Laurel. Yeah, typically it's only the younger folks who can hear the Yanni because it's at a higher frequency. J-Ray, even better. J-Ray says, imagine how mean he's going to be to that kid now that he resents him for being the reason he went to jail. What a dumbass. What about his mother? So it was his stepson. Where's the father to the son? What's the mother doing? Shouldn't the mother get charged too for allowing that shit? How do you allow your actual son to be yanked, or anybody for that matter, to be yanked around with a belt around their neck and beaten with a stick at the same time? How does that happen? How is she not charged? Olivia, where's the child now? I'm not sure. I'm worried that he's in his mother's care. We saw what happened last time that happened. He was yanked around with a belt around his neck and beaten with a stick. Yeah, it's a good question, J. Ray. Where is she? Where's the mom? It's good to see you, Mark. Hopefully you're having a great Tuesday. All right. Okay, let's get into the Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino. Listen to this shit.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
What's up, Moonshadow?
He killed himself. You
in the way Bongino kind of chimes in here, let me start this over.
Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one,
They flipped
and that's
him.
what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to get, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
You said.
Oh my God. Bullshit. That's all I have to say about that. Is bullshit. That is bullshit. Here, let's start another poll. Well, let me pull my Epstein notes up here first. All right, vote now or forever hold your peace. Did Epstein get Epsteined? Or did he take his own life? All right, so I put a list together of reasons why Epstein didn't take his own life. We'll see if you guys agree. Unusual circumstances at the prison. Epstein died in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in August of 2019. The cameras outside his cell were reportedly not working, with one producing unusual footage and the other under maintenance, raising questions about monitoring. Right? And that's why we're going to talk about the prison break today, because they had inside help. Look how easy it was for a maintenance guy to help all those guys break out of prison or jail. Why couldn't somebody help the powers that be who are interested in killing Epstein? Why couldn't they help from within? Then we had 2 correctional officers tasked with checking on Epstein every 30 minutes were reported to have fallen asleep in falsified logs, leading to their indictment. Right? So they got in trouble, kept their mouths shut. Kept their mouths shut. Must have been a lot of money involved. The charges were later dropped. What the? Epstein was taken off suicide watch just days before his death, despite a reported prior suicide attempt, which many find suspicious. Not to mention his roommate, right? Yeah, that's right, Samantha. They got to take some responsibility for that. Reminds me of the Soto case. All right. So did Epstein get Epsteined or did he take his own life? 87% of you say yes. Something fishy is going on. 13% of you say no. It says no, Sleuth. Stop watching Alex Jones. It's melting your brain, dude. It's too late for that. My brain has been melted long ago. Misty says they offed him. Hell yeah, they did. They have to say he killed himself or they might end up killing him. Dang, that's scary. You're right. So they brought him into the upper echelon of the Illuminati. You got Patel and this other guy, Bongino. Before they would have been like, hell yeah, he didn't kill himself. Of course this is a conspiracy. But now that they've been let in, they don't want to let go of their privilege now. They see that the grass is greener over here on the Baphomet side. So now they're like, nope, he definitely killed himself. It wasn't all these very powerful people who are now, that I'm now under their thumb. Wasn't definitely not them. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting. Melissa says, I actually don't think he's even dead. Hey, you never know. I didn't see his body. P. Diddy is probably going to get Epstein too. Yeah, it depends. I heard some information about Obama. If he was over there at those freak offs, who knows what the hell he was doing? There's all kinds of rumors about him and Michelle. And if he's hanging around at those freak offs, there was a guy who came forward who said that he had a sexual relationship with President Obama and that they were smoking crack together. You know, I find that hard to believe, but imagine. Like, what the hell is he doing at a fucking Puff Daddy freak off? That ain't presidential. I know one of his daughters recently changed her last name. Might be for professional reasons, you know, for her career or whatever, but that's interesting. At one point, you would probably find it as, you know, beneficial to your career. Now, not so much. Something must be brewing. Trump Tower. Phone like Westville, brung in the guards only to get him. I agree, Samantha. He was Clinton. There you go. That's a better word. Instead of Epstein, they should call it Clinton. The Clinton kill list. That's like a real thing, guys. Look it up. Dudes know where Johnny Gosh is too. Unfortunately, I think Johnny Gosh was kidnapped, sex trafficked, and may have become a sex trafficker. I hear that does happen. And I don't think there's any proof that he's dead. There's more proof that he's alive and that he's, you know, stayed with his captors. You know, the whole Stockholm syndrome and everything. Imagine spending more time with the people who kidnapped you and abused you than you did your own actual family. Eventually, you just get lost. You know, you're in the matrix, some sick, smelly, greasy matrix, some hellish place. If you go to rat out a Clinton, bad shit seems to happen. Yep, that's true. Let's see here. What else? Let's see. What were the high profile connections? Epstein's ties to powerful figures, politicians, celebrities, business moguls like Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew. And remember, the witness that came forward to accuse Prince Andrew recently was herself Epstein. Fueled theories that he was silenced to protect secrets. His black book and flight logs for his private jet, dubbed the Lolita Express, listed prominent names, amplifying speculation that influential people wanted him dead to avoid exposure. Medical and forensic doubts. The official autopsy by New York City's chief medical examiner ruled Epstein's death a suicide by hanging. But pathologist Michael Baden, hired by Epstein's family, suggested the neck injuries, broken hyoid bone, and other fractures were more consistent with strangulation than hanging, though such injuries can occur in suicide. The ligature marks and lack of detailed public evidence about the scene raise questions among skeptics. Let's see. I know there was something about his cellmate. They think he might be the suspect here. I think his name was Nicholas Tardangiglione. Angiglione. Something like that. Oh, yeah, here it is. Let me put this over here. What the hell? Oh, there we go. So, ex-cop and former prison cellmate of Jeffrey Epstein sentenced to life in prison for murder of 4 men. So this is the guy who was locked up with him, and he was like a witness, saying that Jeffrey Epstein was acting suicidal and all this kind of stuff. Nicholas Tardangileone was sentenced Monday to 4 consecutive life sentences for the 2016 kidnappings and killings of Martin Luna, Miguel Luna, Urbano Santiago, and Hector Gutierrez. And he used to be a cop, and he's massive. He's like this huge bodybuilder type. So they think this is the guy who killed him. Nicholas. All right. So that leads us to the New Orleans jailbreak. Have you guys been keeping up with this crazy story? This is nuts, guys. Absolutely nuts. Okay. So I'm just pulling up my notes and then putting up some images here for you. Here, let's do this. It looks like I'm starting to freeze up a little bit. All right. So I'm going to jump off camera for a little bit because I think it's starting to slow down everything. But did you guys see this? Okay. The escape began around 12:23 a.m. when inmates in cell Delta 1006, exploiting defective cell locks, tampered with the sliding door for about 20 minutes, forcing it off its tracks. I think I have that video too. Nope, I didn't grab that video, but you can find that. It's online. So they're literally running the cell. There's a video online of these guys yanking on this prison door for like 20 minutes. Nobody's stopping them. Nobody's observing them. Nobody even gives a shit. They could have been killing each other. So they entered a handicapped cell where they removed a metal toilet and sink. And that's what you guys are looking at here. That's nasty. So they removed it from the wall, and then they taunted the police. Look, too easy. One said, suck my you-know-what, OJC. Can't really read that one. But this one says, I'm innocent. And somebody crossed out I'm and said, no, we're out of here. We're all innocent. The most hated 9. That's crazy. You can see the arm of the officer right there. Looks like a woman. Maybe. Kind of looks like a woman. Could be the distortion of this glass. Yeah, catch me if you can. Yeah, you're watched every second, videotaped and physically checked probably every hour or so, but in my opinion, no way he'd have anything to hang himself with. Well, look at these guys. They're supposed to be observed, and you're telling me, oh, there's no way Epstein could have been, nobody could have snuck in there and killed him. Well, these guys had help from the inside too. You can see they cut one of these bars right here. And then they were able to slip through and push it to the side. Interesting. Welcome in, Redfoot. Good to see you. It's a getaway of the century right there. Hell yeah, these guys were living it up. Some of them, they struggled, You can tell some were smarter than others. They would capture some of them, and they'd be all dressed in new clothes, looking like they had a shower and a haircut. And then they caught some of these dudes just like sleeping at a bus stop, like all miserable. Like, I just want to go back. Why did I break out? They had buyer's remorse. Here's a close-up of the bottom part. It looks like they tried to cut right here first. Do you see that? It wasn't quite working. And then here's the top. And you can see right here they cut through it. Oh, sorry guys. Looks like my dinner's ready. So we're probably going to have to cut this one short. I do apologize. Let me finish reading on that. We'll finish with this one here. So this is them busting out. Look at that shit. That's so crazy. Yeah, sorry guys, we ran out of time. I thought I had another 30 minutes, but dinner's ready. That was my time. They've captured 5 people apparently. So let's look at the so I showed you the taunting messages. The escapees left handwritten messages on the cell wall, including "Too easy, LOL," "We innocent," "Catch us when you can," and profanities directed at the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. For example, "Fuck OPSO." So that must have been what was blurred out. A smiley face with the tongue sticking out was also drawn. The escape was not detected until a routine head count at 8:30 a.m. Over 8 hours later. So you're telling me Epstein couldn't have been Epstein? These guys weren't even discovered to have broken out until 8 hours later. These guys could have all been dead. There could have been a mass murder going on and they wouldn't even have known. That's disgraceful. That's scary. You know? Imagine what's going on to some folks that are locked up, what they're going through, and they're just facing maybe a year or 2 in prison. It's like, what do they call it? When the patients take over the hospital, the insane asylum. Like, what the hell? So over 8 hours later, so it says here, due to a monitoring technician stepping away to get food during the lockdown period and began at 10:30 p.m. Inside assistance, suspected inside job. Sheriff Susan Hudson stated it was almost impossible for the inmates to escape without internal help. And that makes sense because look at this. Let's go back to these photographs. Right here, that's the first thing I was thinking. Somebody had to turn the water off. Because the moment they unhooked everything from this pipe, the water's going to be flowing into their jail cell. So that's the first thing I thought was, hey, somebody had to shut this pipe off. Or they were able to shut the pipe off somehow. So that, that explains the inside help right there, I think. It's the easiest explanation. Let's see. Citing the need to remove plumbing fixtures and cut rebar, which likely required tools. A maintenance worker, Sterling Williams, was arrested on May 19th, 2025, facing 10 counts related to the escapees and 1 count of malfeasance for allegedly acting under an inmate's orders by turning off the cell's water supply. And I think recently he said that his life was being threatened. So that's going to be his defense. Yeah, isn't that scary? But either way, guys, that's going to do it. Thanks for hanging out. I have a lot more, so I'll save it for another time. Let's see. What did we miss? So we didn't go over the Palm Springs bomber, Guy Edward Bartkiss. And that's really it. So I'll just add that to the next stream, and we'll start off there. But thanks for hanging out. Big shout out to everybody who supports my channel, all you members. Thanks for flexing on them, Miranda. And if you guys want to support the channel financially, you can there. Every penny helps. At the Cash App, you can see it at the bottom of the screen. If you want to do a Venmo, Zelle, you can do that. Those are in the description of the video. But if you want to support my channel, these items are free of charge. Hit the like button and don't be a scrub. Go share the video. And moderators, thanks for keeping the chat chill. You're the best. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Be safe out there.